focus to another big story that we are getting for you at this point in time. And as per Iranian media, Iran's military has announced closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this is significant, the update that we are getting from the Strait of Hormuz right now. According to Iranian media, Iran's military has announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the very important waterway from where oil, LPG, etc., oil, LNG, etc., comes from the Middle East to countries like India. Now, there were supply disruptions because of the war, but after the peace agreement was signed between Iran and US, the Strait of Hormuz was opened. But now again, Iran's military has announced closure of the Strait of Hormuz for ship traffic, citing violation of the war-ending MOU and Israel's continued ceasefire violations in southern Lebanon. Let's go across to Shinjoy Chaudhary joining us on the broadcast right now for more on this. Shinjoy, good evening. Now, this is significant because just now the peace MOU has been signed by US and Iran, and now according to Iranian media, Iran's military has announced closure of the Strait of Hormuz, citing violation of this war-ending MOU.
Yes, you're absolutely right. This is a very worrisome thing for everybody because it means that the Strait of Hormuz will be closed. Now, if that is closed, it means that the entire peace plan really comes to an end. At least that's what it looks like, because the Strait of Hormuz had to be kept open. And if that Strait of Hormuz was kept open, then the Americans would lift their naval blockade. But the Iranians have a problem. They believe that the fighting in Lebanon between the Israelis and its allies, the Hezbollah, is the reason behind their closing the Strait of Hormuz. Now, that fighting has been going on for a while, and it has actually hurt both sides. Now, as a result of this fighting, whoever is responsible for having fired that first shot, clearly there are repercussions. So what is happening in Lebanon, or what has happened in Lebanon, leading to deaths of people on both sides, has led to this problem and the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the whole point is, how do you get back to where things were just 48 hours ago? How do you put toothpaste back into the tube? The Iranians have left one opportunity. That is, they are sending a group of diplomats and officials to Geneva for further negotiations. So if these negotiations actually work out, then maybe there is a way out. Otherwise, we look at another round of very difficult negotiations, and perhaps also the beginning of another round
request
of
you to please stay on with us, because there are a couple of important developments that have taken place involving the Middle East. Meanwhile, we are also joined by Dr. Wael Awad, who is an expert as far as the Middle East specifically is concerned. Good evening, sir. Thank you for speaking with us here on Times Now. Now, as per Iranian media, Iran's military has announced the closure of Strait of Hormuz just days after US and Iran signed a deal, because according to Iran, there has been a violation of the MOU that was signed, because Israel, in fact, has violated ceasefire because of what's happening in southern Lebanon. Your first reaction?
Well, I believe it is the first article of the 14 points, which was saying very clearly cessation of all activities, including Lebanon. So the United States have signed on this under the impression that they have given to the rest of the world they will be able to lean on the Prime Minister of Israel to end his war on Lebanon. However, the Prime Minister of Israel refused because of his domestic pressure and because of the opposition start accusing Trump of betraying the Israeli state. So they are refusing either to stop this war or even to pull out from what territory they have occupied, because now they are occupying almost 1/3 of Lebanon. And for this reason, Hezbollah is fighting the Israelis inside the Lebanese territories. And Iran said the cessation has to end as per the agreement we both the sides signed on it.
You know, there are a couple of other points as well that we would like to highlight for our viewers. One of them being a claim that has been made by Israeli Defense Forces, Dr. Awad, in which IDF is claiming that Hezbollah launched projectiles towards IDF soldiers operating in southern Lebanon. And now we have a reaction coming in from US Vice President J.D. Vance as well, who has said Hezbollah sometimes fires at the Israelis, and of course that means Israelis are going to respond in self-defense. I mean, where will it really stop? I mean, both sides, it seems, are not ready to put their arms down.
This is absolutely right. You know, remember that the Israelis and the Lebanese signed an agreement with them from 2024 after the Gaza Strip attack, right? And they signed a similar one also with the Hamas in those times. But how many times the Israeli violated the ceasefire with the Lebanese has been on since then. More than 4,150 Lebanese lost their life even before the last assault by the Hezbollah after the attack on Iran, which will give you a clear indication. The Israeli intention is that, yes, you can end the war with Iran, but our gift you have to give us is the south of Lebanon, where they want to grab the water and the territories of Lebanon, under the pretext of Hezbollah is that the organization attacking Israel. Remember, the attack on Lebanon by Israel is not of the day or yesterday. It has been ever since the inception of Israeli state. 1948, 75 villagers were killed. Their village was totally demolished. It is in the UN archive. Everybody knows about it. Ever since the attack on Hezbollah. Hezbollah came to existence only after Israel occupied the Lebanon capital, Beirut, in 1982. So we need to address the real issue here is what is the main objective of Israeli war and what is the objective of the United States war. The United States have been dragged into this war by Israel.
All right, Dr. Wael Awad, appreciate you speaking with us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective on this. Sushant Serene also joining us on the broadcast right now. Good evening, Mr. Sushant Serene. Two important developments. One, of course, being, according to Iranian media, the Iranian military has announced closure of the Strait of Hormuz. US Vice President J.D. Vance, on the other hand, has said it is possible to hold talks with Iran tomorrow, that's Sunday, and IDF is saying that it is Hezbollah that's launching projectiles towards IDF soldiers. What is your understanding of what's really going on?
Well, I think one big kind of a circus which is underway in the Middle East, and I think all these three things which you're saying can be true in their own right. The Iranians have discovered that they exercise enormous leverage, not just over the United States, over the other Gulf states, but over the entire world because of their domination over the Strait of Hormuz. And regardless of what Donald Trump keeps repeating time and time again, the fact of the matter remains that the Iranians have discovered this leverage, which they are willing to exercise at the drop of a hat. And this is exactly what they are doing, that they can hold the world hostage, and there's nothing the Americans or anybody else can do about it. The Israelis have their own agenda, and it is partly understandable what their agenda is, that if there has to be peace, then it cannot be that Hezbollah will continue to attack Israel and launch projectiles, and Israel will not retaliate, because otherwise Iran will exercise its leverage over the Strait of Hormuz.
All right. Mr. Serene, appreciate you joining us here on Times Now. Thank you for your perspective. We'll slip into another short break right now. Coming back with lots more. Stay with us.